Good morning, everybody. A little bit different setting back to the original one that I had temporarily, although I may do some readings in here. We are continuing to read Child Bride, where we left off. Priscilla had gotten Mike Stone to leave his wife and children for her after befriending the wife. And then, I guess Mike Stone's heard that Elvis was upset with him. And according to Priscilla or Mike, I'm not sure which one, said, "Come for me, bro." That's what he said, pretty much. So let's continue to read. I want to thank you, members, those that have left me super thanks, that are kind of really help keep this channel going as much as it does. All you subscribers that make it to the end, just as valuable, just as important. Helps the videos trend, gets the messages out there, and it helps me. So, I appreciate you very much. And if you can't watch it all the way to the end and you try to catch up later on, I get it as well. Look, everybody's time is valuable. I just appreciate you come to this channel and take the time to spend that time with me to comment, those of you that can. And if you can't comment, create an account with a Gmail address. It's very easy. It's free, okay? Let's get into reading, okay, without further ado. Elvis's ego had been destroyed by Priscilla by the tormenting fact that she would leave him for another man, someone he considered his friend. It was this humiliation, coupled with the death of a cherished dream, which is having a family, that fueled him in his desire to eliminate Mike and to reconcile with Priscilla, supposedly. More so, it seemed, than any genuine romantic feelings for her. The love Elvis still felt for Priscilla was similar to a father's love for a daughter, and that love did not die with their divorce. As Cecil Ree, which is Kang Ree's wife, the karate instructor, said, "Oh, he always loved her. When he said her name, he always had a look in his eye that, I don't know, it's like he had two little girls instead of just one little girl." Cecil, who was herself a young girl married to an older man, understood. I remember asking, did he think he would ever get back with Priscilla? And he said, no. We won't get back together. We'll always be together in another way, though. She'll always be my little girl. That's something just quick to talk about here. I mean, maybe they were never supposed to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. We know that Elvis took care of other people. You know, there was the that young girl in Memphis that he put into college. I think Elvis really wanted to help people, even when they betrayed him, as so many people did, including Priscilla. Priscilla just never had the brains, in my opinion, to understand that Elvis, was doing his best in his own way, but it wasn't good enough for her. Elvis seemed to come to terms with that after a time. Priscilla's role in his life was a subject he often discussed with Larry Geller, who I'm supposed to have on the show hopefully in about 6 weeks. Okay? Larry Geller, who rejoined the entourage as Elvis's hairdresser and spiritual mentor after the divorce. Elvis told Larry he had finally found out that Priscilla was just like a little sister to him. She grew up, and that person that grew up and I just grew apart. We're not in love with each other, and the pain of that realization was almost more than Elvis could bear. Priscilla seemed not to harbor any illusions or regret of what might have been. Mike asked her from time to time if she would ever consider going back to Elvis, and she said she would not, that it was another part of her life, and it was over, and she would never go back. I think she found complete freedom for herself and what she wanted to do with herself. Mike likened Priscilla's life to sexual as a form of near imprisonment. With Mike, Priscilla seemed more relaxed, less standoffish. At the time that we were involved, we were in love, so it's a different situation than her and Elvis. So my experiences were very joyous. It was a happy time. So this may be what Mike Stone talks about, where he doesn't want to go back and he doesn't have many negative things to say about Priscilla. Let's just say that. When somebody shows you their best side, even if it's not even a real side, a fake side, a best side, puts all of their energy into you and doing what you want to do, you are going to have positive memories and feelings, regardless of who that person truly is. Obviously, Priscilla didn't stay with Mike. She dropped him. And then Mike disappeared from Hollywood. He left. He went to the Philippines. Probably so crushing was her dropping him, like she dropped Elvis, that it affected that in him. And I don't think Mike's going to talk about that. I guess I still have his book. I don't think he's going to talk much about it. He's certainly not going to put himself in this situation of being sued by Priscilla. And Priscilla will claim that never happened, whatever negative stuff. Priscilla carried on in her delayed adolescence, learning for the first time how to balance a checkbook, moving into a larger apartment in the marina, shopping for furniture with Phyllis Mann. She had to go through Ed Hookstratton for the money Elvis had promised her to redecorate, and she had difficulty, she would later complain, collecting it. Vernon, she said later, finally sent a check. Priscilla was discovering the financial realities of life outside the rarefied world of a superstar, and it was a harsh awakening. The $50,000 in cash, which she thought would secure her security, was quickly disappearing to meet her weekly expenses and to start up a boutique. $50,000 in cash. Quickly disappearing. So it was $7,000 to buy into this business. I don't know what the expenses would have been back then. But regardless, I mean, she made the dumb decision. Just foolish. But here's the deal. Everybody's got a right to try. I shouldn't say dumb decision. I really shouldn't say that. We know that nothing that she's touched has really succeeded, except where it was Elvis's name that drove it, like Graceland. The acting career failed. She did get roles, but she was made fun of by all the actors around, pretty much. All right. Priscilla says, trying to make ends meet was difficult. It was the first time I'd tried to deal with it. Sending my daughter to school, having braces, it was all piling up. It was all reality. My God, this was life. This is what people struggle with every day. That Priscilla never had to think about because she was coddled and taken care of and did not appreciate it. But she did this. Give me more. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm entitled. Gimme, 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 gimme. Work, Priscilla. I mean, 50,000 plus another 50,000 that was coming the following year, and you couldn't make it. I mean, we're talking at least 350 in today's monies. This is 1970, so maybe 400,000. And she ran through it like nothing and asked for more. Once again, if she was part of building Elvis's career, if she made his career better, that's one thing. She did nothing but drag Elvis's career down. And he succeeded in spite of her. In spite of Priscilla. Maybe that's what I'm going to call this. She was thinking, my God, where's the money going to come from? I was allotted so much. Gas, rent, everything was piling up. She was also, Mike observed, beginning to miss the luxuries of being a superstar wife. Things that Priscilla had taken for granted when she was Mrs. Elvis Presley. Well, she'd lived a particular lifestyle since she was 14, and she couldn't keep it up on what she got, said Mike. Roughly a year after she left Elvis, with the newness of her independence and excitement of her physically sexually adventure with Mike wearing off, Priscilla tired of the apartment life in the marina and decided she wanted to buy a house in Beverly Hills. So I went back. Gimme, 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 gimme. Gimme, 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 more. I mean, that's what I just picture. She went back to Ed Hookstratton. And said, I'm going to need more money. I've decided to stay in LA, and I need to get a house. I need to give my daughter a place to live. This is not the place for me. Elvis's lawyer's response triggered something in Priscilla. He says, oh well, the next thing you're going to want is a house in Bel Air. When he said that, it was like, my God, the light went on. My God, I'd asked for nothing. I'm barely making ends meet with my $400,000 in today's money. Barely making ends meet. My daughter now needed to wear braces and saying the next thing I want is a house in Bel Air. And I'm thinking, yes, you're darn right I want a house in Bel Air. Priscilla, for whom the point of leaving Elvis was to emancipate herself, felt chained to him still. And she forever will be, because she is nothing without Elvis. Nobody goes to see Priscilla Presley because of the things she's done in this life that's related to herself. Only because of Elvis. Forever chained. Never having a true identity, no matter how she tries to mock it up. Because she never gave herself the chance. Starting right here. Like a teenager still seeking her allowance, she had to go to Elvis, or more annoyingly still, Ed Hookstratton, his attorney, to ask for money. She eventually complained to Phyllis Mann, her interior decorator, about her lack of funds, and I thought, I'm desperate. I know no one. And he had all these attorneys and I had no one. She told me that she had a settlement, recalled Phyllis. She told me the amount and I was like, you're kidding. Phyllis was astounded that the wife of the most popular entertainer in the world had received only $100,000 in her divorce settlement. Ed Hookstratton, she said later, in effect was giving Priscilla the shaft. Priscilla was naive. Phyllis was not. She promptly recommended that Priscilla hire a good divorce attorney. And she said she didn't know any attorneys. And I said that I knew a lot of attorneys. So I gave her several names. One of them was Phyllis's own lawyer, Arthur Toll. I wonder if Phyllis got some money on the back end. I don't like this Phyllis Mann. And that's all right. I can not like her. Sounds like somebody that is entitled as well. I mean, I get the idea here. Elvis was popular. He was famous. He was the most famous person in the world. He had a lot of money. But Priscilla broke up the marriage. She broke it up. She broke up the family. Why do you get rewarded for that? Yes, Elvis had his relationships prior to the marriage. But from what everybody said in the family, in the friendships, including Priscilla, Elvis was faithful to her in the marriage until she cheated. She caused it. And so normally, the person that breaks up the marriage is not getting a bunch of stuff. $100,000 plus all the other stuff, the alimony, child support that she was getting, should have been enough for a normal person. Not Priscilla, though. Not an entitled person. All right. Arthur Toll, who listened to Priscilla's story and agreed to challenge the settlement, which Toll considered unfair. Ed Hookstratton took umbrage, then and later, at Priscilla's lawsuit, blaming Phyllis, whom he described as a pushy individual. See, this is how weak Priscilla is. She began to run Priscilla's life, started giving her all kinds of advice, and brought in her lawyer. Listen, I don't know. I had some time to talk, obviously, to the person involved in the lawsuit with Priscilla right now, that Priscilla is charging her with elder abuse. Bridget. First off, I think Priscilla is a very weak person. Not much thinking in the ways of her mind thinking properly. And so, do I think that this Phyllis man could easily manipulate somebody that's like a shell of a person? That's like a puppet? Anybody can puppeteer Priscilla. Maybe Phyllis Mann was the puppeteer of Priscilla. And maybe, she brought in Bridget Cruz, to fix her financial life. So, from all intents and purposes, it looked like Bridget Cruz did fix her financial life in a lot of ways. She was there negotiating through the lawsuit against Riley and the grandkids. I bet you this Phyllis Mann was just like Bridget Cruz. She probably got sued by Priscilla. Pushed to the side. I know. I'm just curious to see where this story goes. Olivia Biss denied that Phyllis was an unsavory influence. Priscilla, Olivia said, never had many close friends and had a hard time trusting people. She really needed somebody to advise her, and Phyllis, really helped her. Phyllis's husband, succinct characterization was that she saved Priscilla's ass. Priscilla, defending her decision to sue Elvis, claimed years later that she heard from the inner circle that Elvis's strategy in giving her $100,000 was so that I would run out of money and have to crawl back to him. A charge that Jerry Schilling denied. Gotta love that. Gotta love that Jerry denied Priscilla. Jerry attributed the small settlement to very bad advice and said Elvis did not knowingly shortchange Priscilla. Elvis was not a stingy person. When it came to Priscilla, especially the mother of his child, whom Lisa was going to be living with, Priscilla later admitted that Elvis never refused her anything, even after the divorce, and ultimately gave her $10,000, a ridiculously high sum in those days, to decorate her tiny apartment. He'd sent $1,000 just because, for nothing, or mink coats, this and that. However generous Elvis was, Priscilla was not happy, for this arrangement defeated her purpose in leaving, which was to resume control of her own life, which she never had, and she never even had after that, I don't think. I don't know, I guess she became the boss of Elvis Presley Enterprises. So she did have some control later on. I didn't want to keep going to Elvis for money every month. That's bad control. So I couldn't do that. Then I would not have my life. Arthur Toll, Priscilla's newly retained divorce attorney, did not dispute that Elvis would have continued to provide for Priscilla. His perspective was that she needed legal protection to ensure that he would. Who knows what could happen to him? There followed what Priscilla later described as a tense period as her lawyer and Elvis's representatives negotiated, again, her divorce settlement. Elvis's side balked, finding it insulting. Of course it was insulting. Priscilla and the attorney sued Elvis for intrinsic fraud. Toll hypothesized, to think that he wouldn't take care of her. Her father's stance was generally, Elvis would take care of everything, don't hassle him, leave him alone. And Elvis was very fond of Priscilla, and he didn't want to hurt anything. He just wanted everything left alone. I just couldn't see that it was in her best interests. How much money did you get, Arthur Toll? How much money did you make off of this? The helpful person that you were. Toll decided to press ahead with a lawsuit to set aside the original divorce settlement, and Priscilla agreed, claiming intrinsic fraud on the part of Elvis and his lawyer. To support her claim, she filed an affidavit explaining in detail that she'd moved in with Elvis at 16. Oh my God, what a dummy. What a dummy you are. The dumb girl / woman. She filed an affidavit saying that she moved in at 16. We all know she didn't move in until she was a month or two away from her 18th birthday. What a dummy. She basically defrauded herself in a sense, or whatever that's called. What is it called when you? No, I feel like a dummy. I mean, that's a fraud right there. Just putting down an age that was not true, and she put it down for a reason. Scandal. She was trying to threaten Elvis. That's what it looks like to me. What does it look like to you? That she knowingly puts down something wrong. So let me read this again. To support her claim, she filed an affidavit explaining in detail that she'd moved in with Elvis at 16, that she knew nothing about his finances, and that she had in effect been manipulated into signing what she was told and believed to be a fair settlement. It also alleged that Elvis's true net worth had been concealed from her. Ed Hookstratton was still incensed more than 20 years later. They phonied up an affidavit. She filed a scathing affidavit against me saying that I used duress and all that baloney, and it was a joke. I didn't use duress at all. Elvis and Priscilla were the ones that came to an agreement in the master bedroom in their house in Holmesby Hills. The alleged duress was not true. Priscilla got led down a path by an attorney and an interior designer. It was a disgrace. Arthur Toll dismissed Hookstratton's grousing and Priscilla's affidavit as the dynamics of litigation. Ed Hookstratton had already advised Elvis and Priscilla that this was fair, and he didn't want to come along later and say it wasn't. The divorce and Priscilla's adultery had been enough to immobilize Elvis. Now her affidavit lifted the veil on her hidden years at Graceland as his teen concubine, in addition to suggesting that he tried to defraud her out of her fair share of marital property. This caused a fresh scandal that made its way into movie magazines, resulting in headlines such as Priscilla charges that Elvis tricked her. Intimate secrets spilled in sizzling courtroom battle. Despite the bad press and Priscilla's decision to sue Elvis for fraud, recalled Harry Fain, the divorce attorney Elvis hired to defend him and Ed Hookstratton, I honestly must say I don't think I ever heard a word of criticism from Elvis with respect to Priscilla. Why would Elvis say anything negative? She's already putting that she was 16 when she moved in. A bold lie to scandalize him. What else would she leak? What else would she say? That's where I want to tell these Priscilla defenders. Elvis was forced to tell everybody, don't say anything about her. Basically. I mean, you have somebody that does this kind of vicious stuff to you and you really think you're going to love them still? Give me a break. If he loved her and wanted her back, he would have brought her back and when she called from Hawaii. He would have brought her back at any point in time. Ed Hookstratton was less charitable. I did not have a lot of respect for her after she filed that affidavit, because she knew exactly what she'd said and done and what she wanted. Liar is what he's calling her. A liar. With her pants on fire. Okay. I'm sure Ed did tell her what she was entitled to, but he didn't make it very clear. I think it was a pro forma operation, said Arthur Toll. She clearly didn't understand what her rights were, not only technically, but what was involved financially. She just didn't know. She had no concept of what was reasonable under the circumstances. She didn't know what the law was and community property. She knows it meant split something, but she didn't know exactly what. Harry Fain, who took Priscilla's deposition, perpetrated the illegal ping pong game years later, said this: there was no doubt that Priscilla was the very person who asked for and received what she wanted. There was no fraud involved, he insisted. In Fain's opinion, the argument was not as lopsided as it appeared, since Elvis and Priscilla were married only 5 years, and much of his wealth derived from music royalties dating before the wedding, making them his separate property. Priscilla's financial ignorance was evident in her deposition, where she referred to the value of the Hillcrest house, which was $350,000. She referred to it as $3,500,000. $3,500,000. That'd be 3.5 million. 3,500. $3,500,000 bills. Yeah, 3.5 million. No, maybe 3.5 billion. I need to get a calculator out. Let's take a second here. Y'all put your answers in there. 3,500,000. So $3,500,000 bills. $100,000 bills would be 100,000. $1,000 bills would be a million. Yeah, okay, I was right. 3.5 million. A figure that does not exist in the first place, and it's certainly not certainly not 350,000. Okay, that spring, that's her business savvy right there. That's her brain thinking properly. 3,500,000. Dum da dum dum dum. All right. That spring, as her lawyer continued discovery, Priscilla and Olivia celebrated the grand opening of their new boutique, Bis and Bow, with a champagne party. Phyllis Mann, who had decorated the store in Victorian style, described the fashions. I'm sure you did, Phyllis Mann. How much money did you charge Priscilla to decorate that store? Okay. No wonder Phyllis wanted Priscilla to have more money. She could suck that money out from Priscilla. Arthur Toll could suck it from Priscilla, and so could... I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this, but the AI is probably going to go, Joe's being vulgar. So she decorated the store in Victorian style, described the fashions, some of which Priscilla helped conceive as elegant rags, long flowing romantic dresses, and bare midriff to hip hugger pants, heavily fringed, which that's the style back then, kind of hippie-ish. The attention the store received, it was packed with curious, eager to see schoolgirl Elvis Presley had kept secreted at Graceland all those years, taught Priscilla an invaluable lesson about the commercial potential of the surname she had just relinquished. Boy, she better get that name back. That's what she think. I better get that name back. They wanted to see what Elvis saw in me. That left a big impact on me. I saw then there was a lot of interest in him. Of course there was. It's still going on. You go to these Comic-Cons. They're only coming because you were married to Elvis. That's the only reason. And it's kind of sad. And I see pictures of her taking pictures with young people that are 18, 20, 25 that are all happy to be around her because she's famous for being the ex-wife of Elvis. And she's profiting all the way to the bank. And these young people are, maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't care who she truly is. I don't know. Or who she truly isn't. Maybe that's the thing. I mean, it would be amazing if Priscilla Presley was a genius business person. That would be a wonderful story that I would share positivities about. Or that she was an amazing actress. But she was just damn lucky she was plunked from obscurity. Given the life that she was given. Allowed to abuse Elvis the way she did. Because she did. Claiming intrinsic fraud. Putting the lie in the affidavit of the age. And I don't know whether y'all knew that or not. That's probably where it came from, that 16 age. Is she so bad at simple math that she doesn't know how to do her own birthday? Is she that dumb? She could be. And maybe, if she truly is that dumb, maybe I shouldn't be talking bad about her. But if she did it on purpose because she knows her own birthday and she knows the birthdays that she celebrated, including her 18th at Graceland, just a few months after she moved there, then the criticism is well-founded. My stomach is growling. Might be time to get some breakfast this morning. Okay, we're going to end it there. Okay, maybe a little bit more. All right, so I realized that it wasn't the clothes people wanted to see. It was me. No, yeah, it was. They would come in the store and ask for Priscilla. They wanted to see what Elvis saw in me, and that left a big impact on me. I saw then there was a lot of interest in him. That lesson and the folly of her blind compliance in the original divorce settlement burned themselves into Priscilla's brain. Now all of the publicity the ex-Mrs. Presley received was positive, of course. Not all of it, particularly among Elvis's loyalists. The Memphis Commercial Appeal ran a photo story of Priscilla modeling bathing suits from her boutique that May, describing her as neither an actress nor a model, and noting critically that one would think that being Elvis's wife would be enough. Now, I gotta, listen, everybody has the right, if they come into a relationship honestly, to branch out and do what they want. Everybody also does have a right, if they changed, to communicate that. But to do what she did, dishonestly, that's what we don't forgive her for. That's what we harbor these feelings where we just want to make sure that the truth is out, right? Priscilla was coloring her long hair a light henna now, abandoning her blonde streaks, and she purchased a white Excalibur to complement her new image. Taking a cue from the response to the grand opening, she and Olivia decided to grant an interview with Priscilla to the Ladies' Home Journal, her first public profile, hoping to boost sales in Beeson Bow, for the two partners still had little money and even less practical business knowledge. Olivia recalled the two of them taking Priscilla's Excalibur downtown to the garment center to buy fabric. So we buy all this fabric, but where are we going to put it? It just doesn't fit in the car. So we had to drive back and pick up my station wagon and go back. And then what I did, well, I forgot to bring my ID, she said. We realized at one point that we weren't making any money, and Ladies' Home Journal wanted to do a story on her. She didn't want to do that, but she decided that she would do it as long as I advertised the store. Priscilla made the decision to begin calling herself Priscilla Bayou Presley, keenly aware now that the commercial value was in Elvis's name. We needed the exposure, admitted Olivia, and that's basically why she did it. Using Elvis. User, abuser. For Priscilla, who was trained to keep secrets and struggling as well to protect Elvis's privacy, the interview with Ladies' Home Journal was nerve-wracking. The piece published in August 1973 was Priscilla's coming out. The magazine described her appropriately as Hollywood's best-kept secret, the mystery woman in Elvis's life. She followed it with appearances on The Merv Griffin Show and Donahue. Anything to promote her business, even though it was a form of personal torture for Priscilla, who was still mortified at speaking in public. It was the first time she'd ever been on TV, being interviewed, recalled Olivia, watching from backstage, and Merv Griffin couldn't get a word out of her. He would ask her questions and she would answer yes or no. And the producer was sitting back with us and she was like, "Come on, Priscilla, say something." Priscilla let me know. Am I being unfair? I mean, I generally think the best of people. I really think the best of people. There are very few people in this world I have a hard time finding good things to say about. Let me know your thoughts. This is Joe Sins Rarest Photos, TCBT. I'll see you until next time. Have a wonderful day today, okay? Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend.
Lisa was the sweetest girl. Her daddy loved her so. Prissy took her to LA, replaced Elvis with Mike Stone. Then she ran out of cash and sued the king of rock and roll. Made him sell his royalties and play show after show. She put Elvis in an early grave, then laughed upstairs at Graceland. At least that's what a witness said, when Prissy should have saved him. Instead she drank poor Elvis and took Lisa Marie away. Elvis fans, they don't forgive her to this very day. Prissy B should lose the Presley name. Now that Lisa's gone, she left us with her book, telling us all that Prissy B and Michael Edwards took her joy and took her dreams, took her innocence away. And Prissy has the nerve to still get up on stage. She put Elvis in an early grave, then laughed upstairs at Graceland. At least that's what a witness said, when Prissy should have saved him. Instead she drank poor Elvis and took Lisa Marie away. Elvis fans, they don't forgive her to this very day. Prissy B should lose the Presley name. Now that Lisa's gone, she left us with her book, telling us all that Prissy B and Michael Edwards took her joy and took her dreams, took her innocence away. And Prissy has the nerve to still get up on stage. She put Elvis in an early grave, then laughed upstairs at Graceland. At least that's what a witness said, when Prissy should have saved him. Instead she drank poor Elvis and took Lisa Marie away. Elvis fans, they don't forgive her to this very day. Prissy B should lose the Presley name. Prissy B should lose the Presley name.
Well, if you're interested in any of the Prissy B Should Lose the Presley Name merchandise, obviously look below this video and you'll see, maybe you send the link to a family member or friend, and keep that in mind for the birthday or Christmases. Have a coffee mug, whatever, but I still haven't put any of this stuff on iTunes yet. I'm just so busy. Eventually I will though, and you'll be able to download it. And some of you have asked me for to make CDs of me singing the Elvis songs, like actual Elvis songs, and I plan on doing that as well. I may actually start asking at the beginning of the videos for anybody interested to send me an email. That way I can kind of get a tally of how many I should actually produce, so I know what to order. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful Sunday, and a wonderful Monday. So it's a long holiday weekend. Let me know in the comments what you plan on doing, whether you plan on going to visit family or friends, whether you're going to stay in. One of our little kitties or cats is in the background meowing. I'd love to hear from you what you plan on doing for this holiday weekend. Do something fun for yourself for once, okay? TCB TLC, this is Joe Sins, Rare Elvis Photos.